Alright, so about 2 weeks ago, I made a Halo tier list video, and this video blew up. I don't know why, but it's pushing like 120,000 views, and for someone like me, that's a lot. And I learned something with that video, and that's that people get really upset and defensive when you talk about their aliens in space game in a way that they don't like. I mean, you have comments like this, and this comment doesn't concern me because of the aggressiveness of it. It's more along the lines of the opinion backed by the aggression. But the one that really sat with me was the one that says, there better be a video where he explains these reasons. Granted, this probably also came from a place of aggression, but I took it to heart, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go through and kind of support and explain some of my opinions and maybe even change some of them. So starting off with Combat Evolved, this game's staying in S tier, and I genuinely think it's a masterpiece in gaming. I know it didn't exactly age the best, but considering the fact that Halo 2 would have never happened, the hype for Halo 2 would have never happened without this game. We wouldn't be aiming with joysticks if it weren't for Combat Evolved. This game by itself launched Xbox. They were able to put a working product, for the campaign and multiplayer together in 9 months. So maybe it didn't age the best. I still personally have fun on the multiplayer, but this game overall was incredible for the time. The level design is, repetitive, sure, but the huge open battlefields are so much fun. And the AI and the legendary difficulty are just, it's perfect. So no, this game's gonna stay S. All right, this is where it got a little in the comment section, but Halo 2, this game's staying A tier. This one brought on a lot of comments of,
"You just suck, bro, you're just bad. I can tell you're a new gen normie."
Instead of actually taking what I said and maybe considering, hey, he might be right. No, I'm sorry, the legendary difficulty from a development standpoint isn't good. Is it fun? Sure. Honestly, the ridiculously hard campaign can be fun to go through, but looking at it, it is not a good legendary difficulty. They shouldn't be able to shoot their guns faster than me, okay? Sniper jackals are just the tip of the iceberg for the issues of it. It is balanced horribly. I shouldn't die before my HUD comes up. That shouldn't be a thing. Well, the other game's legendaries were too easy. That's not true. I feel like Combat Evolved had a great legendary difficulty that if you were good at the game, you could beat it. And it was fair. Difficulty is, fun when it's fair. Like, look at Dark Souls. 90% of the time that you die in that game, it is your fault. Halo 2 is frustrating because I feel like I get my cheeks clapped when I didn't do anything wrong. It's not just, you're just bad. That is, I hate that argument. And yeah, the level design in the campaign took a step back. And yeah, absolutely, Combat Evolved was repetitive, but the level layout was still better. They were just huge, open battlefields. There were even levels that weren't linear. It is a good level design, but Halo 2 just became very linear, very, hey, hold out in this section, defeat this certain amount of enemies, and go. Now, every other game has that, but Halo 2 just uses this to death. Now, we all know it's because Halo 2 was rushed into development cycle. We know that, but it still suffers from that. And the multiplayer is very fun, and it launched Xbox Live, but its flaws in the campaign are going to hold it back so much for me. I'm keeping Halo 2 at A. Now, Halo 3 is going to stay S tier. This was like the pinnacle of Bungie, in my opinion. The campaign went back to, Combat Evolved level design. The whole campaign was pretty much a movie. The story was a little bit of a downgrade from Halo 2 a little bit, but it was still amazing. The multiplayer was very fun. I know the hit detection wasn't the best. I still play the multiplayer often on MCC. It shocked me actually how many people in the comments said that they don't like Halo 3. And I get that. In the modern day of gaming, it is very slow paced. It is just, in my opinion, like a pinnacle of a Halo game. It is beautiful. So that one's staying S. That's pretty easy. All right, so next is ODST. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. I had put this in A tier before, but going back and looking at it, I think I'm going to move it down to a B, solely because I don't think it's on the same level as Halo 2. Halo 2 is still an A tier, and I don't think ODST is comparable to Halo 2. It's a great game, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's as good as Halo 2. Still love ODST. I'm not hating on ODST at all. Okay, so for Halo Reach, I didn't know where to put this game. I so badly wanted to put it in S. I pointed out in the video that it had flaws, and a lot of people didn't know what those were. In my mind, the flaws were the armor lock and, some of the armor abilities. It kind of killed the pro scene, which when Halo has a good competitive scene, it's very fun. I really like ranked Halo games, and I enjoy watching competitive Halo 3. And it also stripped down the sandbox a lot. To be fair, it was a prequel. It had a right to. Now, the sandbox is still fun to use and satisfying, so that's not that big a deal. And then the other issue was just Bloom. And the more I've been thinking about it, and the more I've been reading comments, and I actually went back and played Halo Reach, I think Halo Reach might be an S tier. Cinematically, Halo Reach's campaign is absolutely incredible. But coming back to it, I think Reach deserves to be an S. These last two games are where I saw a really big divide. People either love Halo 4 or hate Halo 4, or love Halo 5 or hate Halo 5. I personally fall on the end of kind of hating these games a little bit, and my issue that I took up with Halo 4 was that it didn't feel like Halo. When I got it, I enjoyed it for like a month, but I noticed myself not really enjoying finishing the campaign. The multiplayer felt a little off, and I realized it didn't feel like Halo, and I ended up just going back to Reach. Halo 4 isn't a bad game, and I can give 343 some slack because because it was their first Halo game, but I think C tier is the perfect tier for this because it had actually a really good story when you go back and look at it, but the gameplay of the campaign was not that good. I do not enjoy fighting the Prometheans. I don't think they're very well thought out of their design, and the multiplayer wasn't the worst thing ever. It definitely felt a lot more like Call of Duty than it did with Halo, and I think that's a big problem for the game. C tier is perfect for Halo 4. Now, Halo 5, I kind of just threw an F tier. I do not like Halo 5 at all. I really don't. And there is a few reasons for that. Starting off with, I think the campaign and story were garbage. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think the gameplay was that fun. I didn't enjoy the squad-based mechanics. I don't like the Spartan abilities. And the marketing for the campaign actually lied to us and introduced aiming down sights on every weapon. And again, the art style, I think, was just too far away from what we had known for Halo. Now, there were a lot of comments, and these are actually pretty insightful comments, because while I do kind of blindly hate Halo 5, some people made some good points, talking about how the multiplayer was actually really good. The Forge was amazing, and it was. Now, I think in a want to make an interesting tier list, I toss it an F. Maybe that wasn't the most fair thing ever, so I'm actually going to bump it up to D. At the same rate, the microtransactions in that game were dog water. Halo's customization was one of my favorite things ever in 3 and Reach. They took all that and threw it right into supply drops. There's no fun in saving up and getting armor out of a supply drop. One of the armors that they had in there, which was beating all the Halo games on Legendary, they ended up tossing in supply drops anyways. There was really no point to the customization, and that really ruined it for me a lot. I think it was greedy. I feel like Warzone Firefight, unless you're willing to grind, wasn't going to be super fun because you had to get a lot of the things you use in that game mode out of supply drops. Now, of course, if you played and open it, you would have success at some rate, right? But that's not the point. There should not be a, well, you could play if you want, but you could also buy it. I don't like that. That's never what I've enjoyed in a video game. Microtransactions and supply drops were a cancer in gaming that I'm really glad is going away. Out of every Halo game, I feel like Halo 5 is the worst. So that's all the changes I'm going to make to a list. As a little Easter egg, a lot of people notice Halo Infinite down the bottom with NA beside it. No, I didn't. I wasn't putting Halo Infinite in the trash. I couldn't find a tier list that just had the mainline FPS Halo games without Infinite. The short's only 60 seconds, and I could barely fit those games in there, so I just put Halo Infinite in NA. Now, if I had to rank it, I think Infinite's going to be an A tier game, but I have a lot of faith in 343 now. And that's another comment. I actually, for the first time in my entire life, encountered one of these comments in the wild. I got called a Bungie tard. Now, that may be true to an extent, but it's just because the Bungie Halo games were better than 4 and 5. Now, I'm not the kind of guy it's like, oh, I hate 343. They've really turned around their relationship with the community with MCC and their flighting and just the level of transparency they've had. And I think that's great. And they also brought in Joseph Staten. It was really cool to see him back in the multiplayer reveal. Whew. So I kind of wanted to clear that up too. I don't hate 343. I think a lot of people definitely thought I had animosity towards them. I have animosity towards Halo 5. And yeah, I think that's about it. Now, if you were one of the people that watched my short and commented, then came to this video, I appreciate that. So if you're new, if you could like and subscribe, I would really appreciate that. That helps me out. The channel's been blowing up lately ever since I've started making Halo content. It's been really fun to make videos and talk with other Halo fans about the games. That's been an awesome experience. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks for watching. Bye.